the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Oh, so you want the inside scoop on sweet little Rachel Zegler suddenly turning on the charm offensive about that oh-so-cherished 1937 Snow White flick, huh? Well, gather around, my fabulous gossip gluttons, because this is pure comedic gold. Our Disney princess had the audacity, cue dramatic gasp, to diss the original cartoon like it was some dusty relic that needed a good vacuuming, and now she's tiptoeing back into the spotlight with a freshly polished apology, hoping we'll all forget that she basically told the world she found the original classic about as appealing as a stale bag of popcorn.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her."
Word on the street is she's now pivoting to the warm, fuzzy narrative that she truly, deeply, wholeheartedly adores the classic's legacy. So genuine, right? After the interwebs took her to task for trashing what many see as Walt Disney's holy grail, she decided it might be wise to rebrand herself as the film's #1 fan, complete with a remorseful face that says, "Oops, maybe I shouldn't have thrown shade at such a precious piece of cinematic history." Her newly minted humility, my dear watchers, is less of a heartfelt confession and more of a carefully orchestrated marketing ploy. But hey, I'm just a snarky commentator, what do I know? I mean, it's not like Disney has a multi-million-dollar marketing machine that's scrambling to salvage this production from the PR meltdown of the century. Apparently, her big revelation is that she's sorry for calling Snow White a snooze fest or whatever it was she implied. Though, let's be honest, sorry might just be short for sorry I got caught.
And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, "Good job, Rachel." And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, "And never forget, free Palestine." This is just like a few months after 10/7.
And who could blame her? The moment fans heard she wasn't fully on board with their beloved OG, the Twitter sphere erupted into a glorious bonfire of outraged Disney devotees, holding pitchforks shaped like dwarves and dwarfed by their own righteous fury. Now, if you ask me, the entire fiasco is a top-tier lesson in reading the room before you open your mouth, especially when you're stepping into an iconic role older than your grandmother's vintage record collection. Still, give the poor lass a break. Maybe she just had a bad day. Or maybe she genuinely forgot that insulting a cultural landmark was a PR no-no. Either way, consider this apology segment a prime example of how a starlet's self-inflicted foot-and-mouth moment can transform an otherwise forgettable promotional cycle into a sizzling drama that tabloids like yours truly eat up like candy.
She's now bragging about the success of Snow White, which is a movie that's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars, and mainly because of her, and because nobody wanted to support her.
The real question is, does anyone actually buy it? Or is this going to be a footnote in film history about how not to talk smack about a beloved cartoon princess? Because, honey, if you want to maintain that sweet Disney paycheck, maybe keep the shade to a minimum next time, okay? Now hold on to your tiaras, because the saga of production chaos behind this live-action masterpiece is where things really get juicy. Picture it. Reshoots, reshoots, and reshoots. Like we're playing some twisted Hollywood version of musical chairs where nobody ever finds a seat. Sources say the studio pumped a small fortune into fixing pacing issues and storyline flaws, which is just corporate talk for, we have no idea what direction this film is supposed to take, but we're sure as heck not going to admit it. 3 distinct rounds of do-overs, my lovely viewers, and each new attempt gave birth to a brand new set of headaches, because apparently you can't patch a leaky boat while it's still sinking. And oh, let's not forget the comedic angle here. The creative team was desperately shuffling scenes around like a disorganized deck of cards, hoping that maybe if they moved enough stuff around, audiences wouldn't notice the script is about as cohesive as a reality TV catfight.
Yeah, we had more dwarfs than we did viewers in most of these theaters. And as you know, there were no dwarfs other than some CGI weird generated version of them. It's the old, it truly is go woke, go.
Oh, but wait, there's more. Greta Gerwig herself was reportedly called in to lend her writing prowess. But rumor has it that her valiant efforts to inject some semblance of coherence into the story were stymied by studio execs who couldn't decide if they wanted an edgy retelling, a faithful homage, or a feminist manifesto starring a big-eyed princess with a deep disdain for storybook tropes. It's all very hush-hush, but apparently every time they reshot something, they discover some brand new continuity mistake that made the last fiasco look like a cakewalk. The result? A spiraling vortex of fixes, introducing fresh problems and ensuring the final cut remains a jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing. Honestly, if they spent half as much time polishing the script as they did brainstorming fixes, maybe the movie wouldn't be teetering on the brink of collapse. Instead, we're left with a comedic spectacle that might be more entertaining than the final product itself. A bunch of frantic bigwigs flailing around in search of the perfect formula. Disney had better hope the audience is too dazzled by special effects to notice the patchwork storyline. And if you thought that was enough drama for one fairy tale, let's turn up the heat by throwing in a pair of leading ladies who reportedly can't stand each other's presence. Yes, folks, I'm talking about the rumored rift between Rachel Zegler, Snow White extraordinaire, and Gal Gadot, our evil queen with a side of superhero clout. Imagine the tension so thick you'd need Excalibur to slice through it. From what I hear, these two didn't just have a little spat. No. They apparently engaged in full-blown wars of words over everything from line deliveries to improvisation choices, as if the key to theatrical success is proving who can glare the hardest on set.
Don't alienate half of the country when you're putting out a product meant to appeal to all. It's the Michael Jordan Republicans buy sneakers too.
Zegler, who clearly has some strong opinions on how Snow White should be portrayed, modern, snarky, or edgy, was about as thrilled as a cat in a bathtub whenever Gadot decided to slip in a bit of ad-libbing. Meanwhile, Gadot, no stranger to blockbusters, may have believed she was breathing fresh life into the evil queen, but to Zegler, it was more like stepping on her big moment. Cue the eye rolls, whispered complaints to the director, and icy stares in the craft services line. The tension escalated faster than a Twitter feud, culminating in disastrous shoot days where they struggled to complete even a single scene without scowling at each other like rival high school cheer squads. Rumor even has it that the production team was ready to barricade themselves behind prop trees whenever these two shared a shot, just to avoid the crossfire. Of course, in Hollywood, such friction rarely remains under wraps, so here we are with the tabloids devouring every morsel. Disney presumably tried to downplay it, but hush-hush set drama tends to leak like a faulty pipe when it's this combustible. If you wanted a buddy comedy vibe from the two leads, well, you're fresh out of luck. But wait, dear viewers, it gets even better, because it's not just about personal spats and reshoot fiascos, it's about entire storyline segments and beloved scenes being tossed into the editing room trash like day-old takeout. Take that so-called fortress sequence, the big climactic showdown that was filmed, refilmed, and apparently re-refilmed, only to get excised altogether. It was supposed to be Snow White's grand arc, showcasing how she transforms from naive fairy tale waif into some modern empowerment icon. Yet the meltdown behind it included enough continuity errors to fill a script supervisor's nightmares. Characters would appear and disappear, dwarves would vanish or reappear with incomplete CGI, and rumor has it that every fix introduced brand new problems. Then there was the rumored face-off between Zegler and Gadot, so charged it could practically power a small city if harnessed correctly. Yet the higher-ups decided that the tonal whiplash and sloppy continuity were irredeemable. So they pressed the big red delete button, effectively nuking an entire chunk of the film. The best part? Zegler was apparently livid about losing what she considered her prime showcase, where her modern Snow White might have finally won over those skeptical about her stance on the original. Instead, that fortress sequence is now destined for the cutting room graveyard. It's poetic in a twisted way. The scene meant to prove the movie could balance homage and modern flair might never see the light of day because the production can't get its act together.
For every one of the 18 hours I am in the Snow White dress, I expect to get paid. If it's 18 hours, I want 18 hours of pay. I'm sure she got underpaid as a Disney lead actress or as a...
Bravo. Speaking of chaos, let's talk release dates, shall we? Because it wouldn't be a proper Hollywood cluster without a delay that effectively screams, we have no idea how to salvage this fiasco. Initially slated for 2024, the film's now shuffled to 2025, and we're all supposed to believe it's just a strategic move, rather than a frantic attempt to patch things up before fans and critics grab their pitchforks. Insiders, always oh so confidential, whisper that the extra year is crucial for reworking the finale, retweaking the dwarf's CGI, and, oh yes, controlling the inferno of bad press ignited by Zegler's foot-and-mouth remarks. The studio brass, including Bob Iger himself, are probably hoping we all have short memories. They'd love for the general public to forget that Zegler dismissed the original cartoon like it was a musty antique store figurine. Come 2025, they'll roll out fresh trailers, bedazzled with the typical Disney magic, hoping everyone's forgiven or forgotten the behind-the-scenes bloodbath. Because that's the Disney way. Bury the drama under a mountain of sparkle, heartfelt soundtracks, and wide-eyed optimism. If it works, hey, they might actually pull off a profitable release. If it doesn't, well, at least they had an extra year to brace themselves for a glorious crash and burn. Now brace yourselves, because the backstage friction saga just keeps on giving. If you assume the Zegler-Gadot rivalry was the only reason for the hush-hush promotional strategy, think again. Word is the entire production team is so exhausted by controversies that they're practically playing hide from the press. We've got canceled UK premieres, AWOL cast appearances, and press conferences that vanish quicker than your last paycheck. Disney's official line is scheduling conflicts, of course, but that's about as believable as a reality star vowing to shun the spotlight. Meanwhile, insiders claim the set was so tense by the final wrap that nobody stuck around to toast the production. People grabbed their gear and sprinted for the exit, presumably relieved they'd never again have to tiptoe around landmines like Ziegler's next woke comment or Gadot's next improvisation. And the risk of letting these two appear together on a red carpet? Heaven forbid a reporter actually asks what it was like filming that fortress scene 25 times while they glared at each other. The studio's solution? Keep them apart, keep them quiet, and release only the fluffy featurettes about the film's costumes and special effects, hoping to drown out the negative chatter. Cue the arrival of our next contestant in this carnival of chaos, the seething fan base. Disney diehards, old-school animation lovers, and Twitter warriors have all united in righteous fury over the notion that Snow White might no longer be the gentle, singing, animal-friending icon they've cherished for decades. Zegler's comment that the original was boring lit the fuse, and the fandom promptly erupted in a blaze of think pieces, YouTube rants, and viral hashtags.
This encapsulates everything that most of us cannot stand about modern-day feminism and the left in general.
Apparently, some folks view critiquing a 1937 cartoon as an offense worse than high treason, while others champion a modern spin, claiming the world is overdue for a princess who doesn't need Prince Charming. Result? A delightful civil war in Disney fandom. Half the crowd is howling, "Traditionalist purists unite." And the other half is clapping back with, "About time we updated these outdated tropes." It's the kind of drama that sells tabloids and racks up page views, so from a snarky commentator's standpoint, it's utterly glorious. The question is whether Disney can harness that chaos into ticket sales instead of letting it become an uncontrollable wildfire that tarnishes the brand. Because let's be honest, the Mouse House thrives on nostalgia, and messing with nostalgia is risky business. If they alienate the old guard without hooking new fans, this could become the poster child for read the room before you rewrite a classic. Meanwhile, over in the cushy offices of Disney HQ, executives are sweating enough bullets to arm a small country. They had banked on this Snow White retelling as another unstoppable nostalgia-fueled moneymaker. But all the smoke signals suggest they might be staring at an epic bomb if they can't flip the narrative. Bob Iger is likely brainstorming every PR maneuver in the book, from requiring Zegler to recite pre-approved lines about how magical and beloved the source material is, to limiting Gadot's commentary so she doesn't inadvertently fuel rumors about on-set tension. Remember how some of Disney's recent remakes underperformed? Well, insiders say those might look like smash successes compared to what happens if this debacle truly tanks. And let's not forget the broader business strategy. Disney probably planned a new wave of merchandising, spin-offs, maybe even a streaming series or two. But that pipeline is on life support if the public's takeaway is, this is the movie with all the drama and zero charm. Nothing kills expansion plans faster than a fiasco that suggests the brand has lost its magic touch.
And if she hadn't have opened her mouth, I think that this movie might have done well. They might have just been able to ride on the hopium of the movie and some well-cut trailers, and people would have paid to go see it, and then it would have fallen off when people knew it was garbage.
It's a high-stakes game of damage control and, frankly, a case study in how not to produce a film when half your energy is spent trying to fix meltdown after meltdown. Let's just say, Tinkerbell ain't sprinkling enough pixie dust to salvage the PR nightmare if things don't turn around soon. Now let's zoom in on the careers at stake, shall we? Rachel Zegler, once the next big thing post West Side Story, is now the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons, like a self-inflicted PR fiasco strong enough to overshadow her actual talent. Studios are eyeing her warily, wondering if she's worth the baggage. Then there's Gal Gadot, more established but still risking a smudge on her golden record. She's Wonder Woman after all. Fans might cut her some slack, but if this film is a legendary dude, she's not totally unscathed either. Hollywood is all about that bottom line, and star power dims quickly when controversy trumps the performance. So the big question, if the movie is somehow a runaway success, do they both skate away unscathed? Possibly. Audiences have short memories when the box office is flush with cash. But if it flops, well, Zegler could end up in career limbo.
This weird feminist thing where her heroine cannot be in love or be saved by a man, the prince, that she's more focused on becoming the leader she was meant to be, as if women in modern day America must make that choice. You cannot both be a leader as a female.
Labeled as the actress who trash-talked a beloved classic and then couldn't deliver a hit. Even Gadot might feel the chill of an underperforming project. Directors, writers, producers, they're all in the crosshairs too. Nobody wants to be tied to a fiasco that might become legendary for all the wrong reasons. The morale of this Hollywood soap opera is simple. Maybe don't bite the hand that feeds you, especially when the hand is an iconic Disney franchise with decades of fan devotion behind it. Finally, because no cinematic circus is complete without a steaming pile of uncertainty, here we stand at the brink. Will this film, after all the reshoots, quarrels, and carefully orchestrated apologies, deliver something audiences actually want to see? Or will we all witness the spectacular implosion of a project that tried too hard to be woke, modern, traditional, and epic all at once, and ended up being none of the above? The cynic in me is popping popcorn in anticipation of the crash, but who knows, maybe the final cut will surprise everyone. Perhaps once the lights dim, viewers will be entranced by dazzling visuals and a fresh twist on Snow White's story. If so, maybe people will forgive Zegler's verbal missteps and the behind-the-scenes bickering. But if not, expect the tabloids to dredge up every last tidbit of drama, from the fortress scene fiasco to the rumored shouting matches, framing it as a cautionary tale about hubris and half-baked reboots. Disney's best move? Probably crossing their fingers that the public's collective memory is short and that nostalgia and spectacle can overpower cynicism. Because if audiences walk away underwhelmed, they'll hold tight to the real story. A production overshadowed by infighting, rewrites, and an actress who had to apologize for disrespecting an 86-year-old cartoon masterpiece. And that, my dear gossip enthusiasts, is the final swirl in this cocktail of Hollywood drama. Will the House of Mouse rally its magic, or has Snow White's crown already slipped into oblivion? Smash that subscribe button for the next big scandal, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single shocking twist. This is Sienna signing off, darlings. Stay fierce.